Oh God, I don't feel good. I wonder what Google has to say. Symptoms of cough. Oh my God, coughing is one. And now that you mention it, I did have a headache last week. I say to myself after only consuming caffeinated beverage for a week is hydration. The symptoms of other things, maybe it's bronchitis, pneumonia, chickenpox. Oh my God. I have smallpox. Have you ever been there? You notice something off in your body. So you search it on WebMD, and before you know it, you're convinced you have some weird bone disease that hasn't existed in over 300 years. Well, that's me. Getting in tune with your body is great. Except when you notice one thing's off and then you're convinced you're dying. And guess what? I'm kind of sick of that. A year ago, I read Outlive by Peter Attia, and I've implemented many of the habits he recommends in his book. Zone 2 cardio, proper sleep, 10 minutes of Zone 5 sprinting, weight training, and lots more. And amongst all of those things, the biggest thing he also recommends is something called Medicine 3.0, which is the idea of creating a lifestyle that delays the 5 horsemen of death: cardiovascular disease, cancer, neurodegenerative disease, and foundational disease. And there's one way to prevent these that I find so fascinating, but sadly feels very unrealistic in the world we live in: early detection. I'm talking 10, 20, 30 years. The idea, if we catch diseases early enough or notice the warning signs at a very young age, we can have lifestyle changes that actually prevent them. And did that put me down a wormhole? So I went down a wormhole to see how I could get access to his clinic and a full body scan, which I've seen many professional athletes, celebrities, even the Kardashians doing. Full body MRI, blood panel testing, gut microbiome, and more. And I tried searching, but as a Canadian, first of all, I'm not even an American citizen, so that was a hurdle. I don't even live in the country. Second, yeah, our healthcare is free, so we don't get access to all this. So amongst all my searching, I actually found a clinic here in Vancouver that provides these services. And I'm gonna show you if it's worth it, to see if it's actually worth getting all these tests done at a young age, or could it potentially ruin my life? Yes, because getting this done has ruined some people's lives, and we'll talk about it. First, the consultation. So I'm outside and gonna go do my consultation right now.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you this functional medicine matrix here.
So I had my consult. We kind of went over everything, then we booked the testing. Wow, that's gonna be a hell of a day. There's the Brian Johnsons of the world getting tested for 1,000 different things. But what about us average people that aren't billionaires? Would it be worth it to fork over such a percent of our money to get our blood work, MRI, Dexter Scan, get the whole works? I'm gonna investigate if it's worth the money for you and me, just average folks. I'm just about to hop on the pre-appointment call with my doctor. So we're gonna go over like what I can eat, what I can't, the fasting. Oh, I hate that if you ever had testing. I can't have coffee in the morning probably. Ugh. Huh? Perfect. Good morning. It's morning in my testing. Ugh. I've had to fast all day. I had to stop drinking water pretty much 6 p.m. yesterday. So 12 hours of just sipping water. No caffeine. Yeah, I woke up, no coffee. No food, and I'm hungry, and I'm decaffeinated, and I'm not thriving. And I'm nervous now. Up till now, I've been really excited because like I've dreamed of this moment of being like, I can finally figure out if there's a hypochondriac. Like I'm always thinking I have all these things wrong with me. And so I'm like, oh my God, it'll be such relief. Like just no. But then I'm like, what happened if I find something bad? Like right now I'm living in this bliss of healthiness. But after, I don't know. And I'm kind of regretting it. I'm gonna be honest. It's test day and I'm miserable. So we Uber right there in my misery. I feel empty inside. Friendly reminder of how much dependence I have on caffeine. But you know what? Normally I can get through because, you know, a little chocolate, a little croissant, a little bagel. Nope, nothing. Just raw dogging it into here. So if we do all the diagnosis, there's a lot of gel. A lot of gel in the hair to test my cognitive. Then the basics, blood pressure, heart rate, all those kind of things you've seen as a doctor, and just a bunch of other cognitive testing, which I won't lie, I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be awful because I have no caffeine in me. So I don't even know what she's saying. I'm in a different dimension. I'm half asleep right now.
I'm extremely confused.
So I put on my old trusty looking swim cap, throwback to my swimming days, and just sit there and try not to hate my life. I gotta get all this ultrasound gel out of my head. Cute. A few rooms over and get blood work. And at first they're like, just warning, we're gonna get a lot of blood. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've gotten blood before. They're like, no, a lot. And it was vial after vial after vial. But I keep telling myself, I'm very thankful for those opportunities. Do not complain, Keltie. Do not complain. You are getting your blood work. Not even just like you have an issue. It's for longevity, performance, optimization, whatever you want to call it. And I'm happy. But my God, I'm even happier for when this is done because that means it's time for coffee. Just got my blood work done. And now I gotta go get a Dexter Scan. I get coffee now though. I'm so happy. So I went to a coffee. I didn't film. I was too distracted to get that coffee in me, and I completely forgot I have a YouTube channel. Bear with me. Dexter Scan time. I just had to go up 5 flights of stairs because the elevator was broken. And we're on to the Dexter Scan, which I'm happy about, because if you guys saw my giving up Diet Coke video, this will be my 3rd Dexter Scan I've ever got, and I've been really concentrating on weightlifting and that lately after falling off it a little bit in COVID, and just to get my bone density up, and we'll talk about that at the end.
Just got the Dexter Scan. I haven't done one for 6 months. My weight stayed the same, but I've gained 4 pounds of muscle, and my bone density is going up. I've really been concentrating on back exercises the last year, and it's just so exciting to see results from it. Like, I can't see my back, but I haven't had tension headaches, I haven't had lower back pain, and 4 pounds of muscle gain. Crazy.
And I can kind of give you the results because she showed me right away, and it's great. So my 3rd Dexter Scan was the best I've ever had, which means, yes, my bone density is improving. Is it perfect? No, but it goes to show giving up Diet Coke actually did nothing for my bone density. The only thing that has actually helped it has been weight training. And it's a friendly reminder of why weight training isn't just to grow the booty, but it's good for longevity.
Stay hard!
And then I was able to eat quickly and then off to get my MRI. Now I'm loving this MRI, guys. Look at these snack selections. I mean, do I get an MRI every week now? Just for snacks? Am I the only person that sometimes gets appointments just simply based on the snacks? Like, if you give me a chocolate at the end of the appointment, I'm 10 times more likely to return. Cookies? Yeah, I can go get the cookie. But for something about the fact it's free and unexpected makes it tastier. So we went in the MRI, put on my cute scrubs, Grey's Anatomy, hire me, and then we're off into the scary machine. I'm actually not claustrophobic. I didn't mind. This is just, I got to watch Netflix for an hour. It was quite lovely. And then to finish off the day, I have the best friend in the world, and she made me tacos. After all the crazy fasting and only eating during certain hours, so we watched stupid television and girls' night and tacos. So it is July 31st, and it's finally time to get my results, which I'm excited for, but I'm also like nervous, because up till now, I'm healthy in my mind. But am I actually nervous? But as long as the bad results are fixable. Now, a big reason I wanted to do this video is I have been bombarded with all these biohacking bros just constantly reaming down our throats, like, get everything tested, do all these medicine 3.0, and it sounds great, but I'm also kind of suspicious because that's the future. Like, eventually one day we, once every few years, go get everything tested, get it printed out, and everything's customized and attached to our Apple Watches. But I'm also like, is there even a point of even considering it now? Because we're just not there. Like, that's also like me envisioning a flying car. Sounds great, but that doesn't mean it's worth my time to go buy a flying car. And if you're wondering what kind of results things like this will get, so bone density, muscle, a full MRI, so it's going to show any abnormalities in my body, everything, blood work, from my nutrition to my hormone levels, everything. And some things I'm very curious about because I've always wondered, I'm like, oh, are my hormones off? But then there's going to be some things that I'd be very shocked were off. One, actually, I'm just going to give a little foreshadowing to it. One thing that surprises no one that was not off was my hydration. Yep. Your electrolyte balance, hydration, optimal. Which leads me to, how Keltie did you pay for this video? Yes, thanks to today's sponsor, which is Element. That I got tested in this lab. They tested my electrolyte balance and hydration levels, and they were absolutely optimal, which I have to thank Element, because one, it makes water taste delicious. That's not even one of the things. It does taste so good that it makes me want to drink it. But being hydrated isn't just about drinking enough water, it's also electrolytes, which include sodium, potassium, magnesium, which Element has a perfect scientific ratio of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium, all which helps with nerve functioning, muscle cramping, hydration, energy. And if you're an athlete, if you're anyone who sweats or works out, you really have to make sure you replenish not just water, but electrolytes. So I know a lot of you are fellow runners. One of my favorite things about this is I can always have in my pocket in a running vest, and then suddenly in the middle of my run, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I know I need electrolytes, I can just grab a bottle of water, boom, put it in there, and I always have it with me. And another thing I love about Element is it's trusted by professionals and professional athletes who get drug tested. That includes people in NHL, NFL, NBA, Olympic weightlifting team, and it's good enough for them, and it's good enough for just regular people. You've seen it on thousands of these biohacking podcasts and these wellness and professionals and scientists, because it is just such a great ratio. It tastes delicious, it's a trusted source, and I am absolutely obsessed. You've seen it. I have not gone a day without taking it in so long, whether it's just for a workout, a hangover, or just regular sweaty days. And of course, I got a code for you guys. If you go to my link, drinkelements.com/Keltie, you will get one of their sample packs, which is a great way to try all 8 flavors or share with a salty friend. Once again, that's go to drinkelement.com/Keltie for that offer. Thank you, Element, for sponsoring this video. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford this testing, because no, it was indeed not free. So time for the results, and I'm frightened. I'm so scared I'm going to see some little thing in me, and it's just like, it's going to ruin my life, because I'm spending my entire life now fixated around this like little cyst I have, or something else, or what happened if I undercover a tumor. I don't know where my mind is spiraling now. This seems great. This seems like a great idea. But as he starts to read it, I couldn't get the vibe. Like, he wasn't right away being like, okay, brace for impact, or he wasn't like, oh my God, great bill of health. It was very like, we got to go through this all, and we went through this all. This was longer than any lecture in university I ever had. This was over 3 hours of just learning every blood panel result, and it was fascinating. So I'm back with my big books. The initial Band-Aid has been ripped off, so I don't feel as nervous, but it also does feel overwhelming. Like, I was super excited to make these changes, and I see it, but there was like so many little things I could tweak and all this. And as much as it sounds great to have all these things, I feel you actually have to have so much money to have someone like constantly monitoring these things. And even then, like, at what point is it worth it? You know, my magnesium's great here, but my biotin's a little off, and my thiamine, and is it just because this is how I chose to eat this month? Because the last few months I've been traveling, I haven't been on my supplement game, and I haven't cared about getting salmon all the time. And I'm not saying it's defeating, like, it's empowering, but like, at the end of the day, I got all this testing done, and here were the things I wrote down to work on. Eat more organic fruits, reduce plastic, maybe get a water filter, wash my fruit and vegetables, do a lot of sauna, omega-3s, natural sources of vitamin B12. And that was kind of it. So there's definitely a few things like I'm alarmed at that I'm like, oh, I would like my cholesterol and heart to be a little better, but it feels anticlimactic in some ways. Is it worth it? I don't know. This will be worth it, but is it worth it right now? I think you have to be a quadruple millionaire like a Brian Johnson and have a private doctor. But for us average folks right now, I need to process this. So my main takeaways that I'm going to implement over the next few months, and you'll see in the finale of my Peter Attia book, is monitoring my stress, omega-3, quality meats, actually consider using berberine, citrus, baragon, get another brain MRI in a couple years, seeing if upping my vitamin D helps my bone density, sleep, which he recommended no screen before bed, and no intermittent fasting, gut health, reducing stress, and look into something called central sensitivity syndrome, which might be something I'm dealing with. So I'm gonna be honest, this video I filmed 3 months ago, finished editing like 2 months ago. The biggest red flag I had, and I haven't posted it because I just was left with this really anticlimactic, weird feeling, and I didn't know how to process my thoughts. It's a good thing. Nothing bad came, and so it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm dying of this. Like, it's good. It's something I'm thankful for in several years. But at the same time, it really made me like self-examine of like the overall obsessiveness of this anti-aging movement and people like Brian Johnson. And I think there's a line, and I have to be careful of it because I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated with the idea of medicine 3.0. Us living more of a balanced lifestyle, so we have a lifespan and health span, so we're able to live healthier lives that we can do more into later age. And I think that's great. But at what point are you taking away from the now for the future so much that like you throw away your life? There's that line. And as I start to approach those decades where I'll reap or be punished for my previous decades, like I think especially your teens, 20s, 30s, what you do in those really are going to be reflected in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s onwards. And of course, any day you make a lifestyle change, you're that much better. But as I start to approach those, my mind starts to like flip of like, oh my God, I can't just wait till next year now. I got to do it now. But at the same time, if I spend my entire day just optimizing my sleep, nutrition, workout, every single health monitor, like what's the point of living if I'm just a lab animal? Like then I might as well just be a mouse at that point in a lab. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to balance that. And I have to be careful because I love testing these things. And that's why I want to do it, to see if it was actually worth it for you guys. Selfishly, I thought it was cool. But while I left it, it was very anticlimactic because unfortunately, I don't think we're 100% there yet. Now, I'll be able to look back in many of years, but for the average person, I don't think this is beneficial unless you're like completely loaded that you can have a doctor every single day telling you exactly how much to eat and how much to sleep and all this. Sometimes I worry this becomes into that obsession, and I think these kind of tests can be a benefit or not. Because now I won't lie, I'm very thankful when I have a headache, I don't have to worry about it being a tumor because that's where my mind goes. So that was thankful. But at the same time, it was quite disappointing in a lot of these tests of like, it's cool to have the numbers, but we don't have them for people my age. Like for example, there was a little spot in my brain. brain. And the doctor said, don't worry, these are just things you get, you accumulate over time, and you see someone who's older has a lot of them, but you start to create them when you're younger. And he said, but it's weird someone your age has one. And I started panicking. I was like, wait, what? He's like, let me reframe. It's because you normally look at someone your age's brain. So it probably is like they start forming in your younger teens, and every decade or so you get one more and it adds up. But because they're not normally looking at the brain of a healthy teen, 20-year-old, 30-year-old, they don't know. And there's some tests, like especially the heart test, the youngest age they monitor is 50. So yeah, my number was great, but was it actually great for someone my age, or was it just great for if it was my stats, but someone 20 years older? Obviously mine should be better when I'm 20 years younger than them. And so that's where I was kind of like, oh, I did all this and I'm thankful, but I can see how it leads to obsession. And was it worth it? I hope so, but I think that's why maybe it feels so anticlimactic. And it also made me really sad that this should just be like a human right. And I'm not going to try and get too political because I think it's just a universal problem. It's not easy. Like, it sounds nice. Like, doctors just give it all away for free. Just give this all. But like, it's complicated. I just wish everyone had the access to go get a Dexter Scan, go get their blood work, go do their VO2 max testing. And so I guess I'm left with, if you have the resources, every few years, treat yourself, save up. And I think that research will be very valuable in the future of where you need help. For example, I would say, hey, get a Dexter Scan every once in a while to see how much muscle mass you have. Are you gaining bone density or losing it as you get older? Because to see if your strength training is actually beneficial. Get your blood work every once in a while to see, if you're really low in certain nutrients, or on the flip side, how your hormones are. Another thing someone would recommend is if you do have access to MRI. I found it fascinating, but it also didn't come up with anything. So it was very anticlimactic in that sense. And if you have access to go get your VO2 tests, and there's becoming more and more affordable ways to do it as well. I think those are all great things that every few years are awesome to do, but within parameters. And I think just keep on it. And I hope one day just regular medicine really thinks of this medicine 3.0 of prevention versus a cure. And I really hope that's the case, because I think that's the next thing. That our lifestyles allow us to live longer, but a higher quality of life. And that's the biggest thing. So, you can still run in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You're not wheelchair bound because you have that health span, not just lifespan. But overall, I did all this testing. And guys, this is what it told me at the end. And I'm thankful. I'm healthy. All that stuff I've been telling you about sleeping, hydration, lifting muscle, all those things, it paid off. But it is funny that I did all that testing to be told omega-3s are important, and I've been slacking, and it showed. Vitamin D is important, especially when you live in cloudy environments. So yeah, moving away from Edmonton definitely did plumage my vitamin D. And now I live in rainy Vancouver and northern Sweden, so I get no sun. And it reflected that. And always working on my bone density and muscle density and monitoring my sleep. Yeah, I had a couple hormones that were just saying, yeah, my sleep and stress monitoring wasn't necessarily the best. And I seem to have like a prototype that is just very stress prone, which no one is surprised about. Overall, was this worth it? If you have infinity money, you might as well. But for the average person, I'm like, no, save up every couple of years and just do one of the tests and kind of keep an eye on things. And I think this is not a doctor, but this is just my own experience of like, did I feel it was worth it? No, for the amount of money I paid for it all. Definitely not. If it was something we all had access to and we got put in a data system, yes. But for the average person right now, I think there's better use of your money. I think it's spreading it out, doing tests, because yeah. But that being said, I did get some test monitoring back, and will those even improve my quality of life? I am going to be working on the Peter Attia protocols. And that was the funny thing. This all came back to sleep enough, lift some heavy weights, sprint a little, walk, dance, eat a wide variety of nutrients, and have a social life and stress management. And all that testing just came back to those same pillars, which we've all told. So everything I've told you, you can go get tested. It's still going to tell you those same things that every other person tells you. But I'm going to continue on that. And like I said, in January, I have a Peter Attia video coming up. So hit subscribe if you want to see that. And I'm going to make some tweaks to my diet and stress over the next few months and see what happens. I'd love to hear down in the comments any other fitness tech trends you guys would like me to test. And a reminder, if you're watching these biohacking anti-aging dudes, take one or two things that can help improve your health span, lifespan, but at the same time, don't forget to live, because literally what's the point of living to 100 if that entire time was just spent in a lab being poked and prodded? Because that sounds kind of like hell. Moral story, have a great day, go pet a dog. Love you guys, bye.